All right, today we're diving into a film that, man, it sparked a ton of conversations and just as much controversy. We're talking about the 1993 hit Indecent Proposal and the huge, provocative moral dilemma sitting right at its core.
Okay, so let's just get right to it. I want you to really think about this for a second. What if a complete stranger, a billionaire no less, walked up to you and offered you $1 million? Cold, hard cash. The catch? The price is one night with the person you love. What would you do? I mean, really, what would you do? This isn't just some random thought experiment, you know? It's the explosive question that fuels this entire movie.
So you're probably thinking, how could anyone even think about saying yes to that? Well, to get there, we got to understand the couple at the center of the storm and just how desperate things had gotten for them. So let's meet David and Diana Murphy. He's an architect, she's in real estate, and these two are the classic high school sweethearts. They have poured every single cent they have into building their dream home, right on this perfect piece of beachfront land. I mean, this isn't just a house, it's their entire future. But then, bam, a recession hits. And you gotta remember, for people in the early 90s, this was a very real, very scary thing. All of a sudden, Diana can't sell any houses, and David loses his job. Just like that, they're $50,000 in the hole, and the bank is knocking, ready to take their land. Everything they worked for is about to just disappear. They are completely out of options. So what do? They take what little savings they have left and head to Vegas. It's a total Hail Mary, one last desperate roll of the dice. And little do they know, this gamble is about to lead them to an offer way beyond anything they could have ever imagined. Okay, so now we get to the moment where the stakes go from, $50,000 to a cool million. Because in Vegas, they find more than just a blackjack table. They find the man who's about to make them an offer that will literally change everything. So they're at the casino, and Diana catches the eye of this billionaire, John Gage, played by Robert Redford, by the way. She ends up being his good luck charm on a huge $1 million bet. And that's when he makes his move. The offer is just so simple, so shocking, and so direct. $1 million for one night with Diana. Now, to really get why they'd even consider this, you have to know what happens right before. At first, their Vegas gamble actually works. They win big, like over 25 grand. They're on top of the world. But then, in this just brutal twist of fate, they lose it all the very next day. Every single penny. So now they're completely wiped out, totally defeated, and suddenly, Gage's crazy, absurd offer, well, it starts to sound like a terrifyingly real option. So after going back and forth, just agonizing over it, they say yes. They actually agree. A lawyer shows up, a contract is signed. Gage whisks Diana away in a helicopter to his private yacht. But as David stands there watching that helicopter lift off, this huge wave of regret just crashes over him. He starts running, trying to stop it. But it's too late. The deal is on. And Diana spends the night with Gage. The plan, right, was so simple on paper. Take the money, pay off the debt, build the house, and just forget this ever happened. But, that's not really how people work, is it? The money that was supposed to be their salvation, it becomes this poison in their relationship. The act itself opens up this huge canyon of jealousy and mistrust between them, and you start to wonder if their love can ever get across. And believe it or not, the whole thing backfires almost instantly. In just the cruelest twist, they find out the bank had already foreclosed on their land before they even got the $1 million. It was all for nothing. David's jealousy just spirals. He starts accusing her of seeing Gage again, and the tension just gets to be too much. The couple that was once inseparable, they split up. So, wow, that's the story in the movie. But the story about the movie is just as interesting, honestly, because it created this huge split. You had the critics, who pretty much hated it, and then you had audiences who absolutely flocked to see it. I mean, just look at the difference here. On one side, you have critics just slamming it. They're calling the story implausible, morally sketchy, the whole deal. But then you look at the box office. On a $38 million budget, it made almost $267 million worldwide. It was the sixth highest grossing film of the year. So while the reviewers were shaking their heads, everybody else was lining up to buy a ticket. It seems like that core question, that tension between love and just plain financial survival, it really struck a nerve. And the controversy wasn't just about whether the story made sense. A lot of feminist critics, especially, had some really serious problems with it. Their argument was that the whole premise was just deeply problematic.
They said it basically glorified prostitution and, maybe worse, treated a woman like she was property, something that two men could buy and sell. So with a story this messy, this complicated, how on earth do you wrap it up? Let's get into the final act and see how the film tries to untie this massive moral knot it's created for itself. It really all comes down to a few key moments. First, David finally gets rid of the money's power over him. He donates the entire $1 million at a charity auction. Then you have Gage, who realizes Diana's never going to love him, so he does the right thing and lets her go. And he even gives her this cool little twist at the end. He gives her his lucky coin, and she sees it's double-headed. He was never going to lose that bet. He never left their night together up to chance. And it all leads to Diana and David finding their way back to each other, right on that pier where he first proposed.
So here we are, decades later, looking back at Indecent Proposal. What do we make of it now? Is it just a problematic relic of the 90s, with a premise that makes us cringe a little today? Or, despite all its flaws, does it present a moral test so powerful, tapping into these timeless fears about money and love and security, that it continues to force us all to ask, what's our price?